Okay, hello everybody, Feuerex here with another Let's Make video. For those of you who are not familiar with this series or with the channel in general, in this video I'm gonna have an empty map or a pre-built mission, and I'm gonna complete that mission to its full state so that it's completely playable, and I'm gonna show off several different methods and techniques that you can use while making missions. In this episode, I have decided to make a rather unusual mission, and you will see what I have in mind in just a few moments. And I already have some things placed on the map, and I'm gonna show you what exactly we have already, because I had to test a few things and I had to prepare something at least so that I know that it works, because in this episode we are gonna test a couple of interesting methods that you can use while editing and several mechanics that I feel that you should know about. So we'll be again playing Arma 3, we'll be creating a single player scenario, so no multiplayer still, but it will come one day eventually. So let's have a look at what we have right now. So I have the player. It is currently only a test unit. You can see that I have two commands in his initialization box, and that is allow damage false so that he doesn't take any damage, and set captive true so that he doesn't count as an enemy unit to the op4. And that is because I want to test out, I want to see where the units are at and what they do. So this kinda allows me to just freely move around. The player cannot die, and the enemy soldiers do not attack him, so they are not disturbed by enemies. So I do some basic testing with this player, then I'm gonna delete the commands and customize the player a little bit more at the end. Next we have some enemies, and we are on Altis. This is the northern part of the island. We can see that here is a castle. There's some older ruins. You're gonna see that in the game in a couple of seconds. The enemy soldiers, there are just a couple of them. I don't really want to place many more, because why should I? It's like I only want to show you the mechanic. But in fact, I have a couple of patrols over here, so I'm gonna make one more patrol so that you know what these do. Because as you can see, these patrolling soldiers have a couple of waypoints attached to them. There is also a trigger controlling the waypoints, and this is the easiest patrol command, or the patrol script, you can say, that you can make without actually making a script. So I'll make one more patrol unit so that you can see how it's done. We'll make a light rifleman with low skill. We'll assign him to a separate group where he will be alone. That you can do with going to groups and then clicking on the soldier, dragging the line away from everyone, and he will be alone. So right now we'll make a couple of waypoints for him. So the first thing, let me just the first waypoint will be a normal move waypoint. So we want a common patrol, so we have the speed limited so that he walks. We have the behavior safe so that he has his gun pointed down. So he's just, you know, walking around. He doesn't really care much. I'm gonna have him patrol this little area over here. So this is his first waypoint. The second one will be pretty much the same, so there will be no changes. The third one as well. And then we want him to cycle and go on and on and on, because he's on a patrol. Alright, so we'll make the fourth waypoint close to the soldier himself. We'll have it cycle. And you can see that when you place it close to the soldier, it will automatically connect to him. So right now you can see that he will cycle, and basically how the cycle works, Once he reaches this destination, the cycle waypoint will tell him, okay, now go to the nearest waypoint possible. This is his location, so it's the nearest location that he knows about, and the soldier will return back, and then the whole process will repeat itself. So that's why I usually make the cycle waypoints right on top of a soldier. In this case, it's not needed. You can see that this will be fine as well. So we have the cycler over here, but then we have to make a situation where the unit actually doesn't have to be in a cycle, and that is when the player is discovered. Because once the player is found and the enemy know about him, they probably won't keep just walking around. They will start searching for him, or at least they will defend themselves. So that's why we'll make one more waypoint over here, and it will be right over here. We'll change the behavior to combat. We'll change the speed to full. The rest can stay as it is. I also, in the other cases, I increased the placement radius to 5 so that it's a little bit more random, but not much. You can see that the waypoint will actually create itself in this circle inside this randomly. And there you can now see that there's a little bit of a trident over here, and that's exactly what we need, because now the unit will decide whether it has to cycle, or if it has to go to combat and then stay over here in this location. And we have this trigger over here that will do all the work. So let's click this trigger open. You can see that it's quite big. I have adjusted the numbers on the axis A and B to 400 instead of the original 50, and that is because I want to cover the whole area of the mission. And then I have adjusted the timer to 3 seconds because I don't want them to react absolutely immediately. I want to have a little bit of time before something happens. So next we have detected by op4, because all of these are op4 soldiers. So when the player gets detected by op4, they will start reacting, and the activation will deal with that later. So now we want to change the type to switch and click OK. So right now the trigger is a switch, and that means that it will switch between the waypoints that are synchronized. You can see that I have already synchronized the waypoints of the 3 soldiers that I have created before. So click on synchronize, click on the trigger, and drag the line to the cycle of the unit that we have just created. You can see that the line gets created, and right now what happens is that the rifleman will keep circling around, he will keep patrolling, but once this trigger gets activated, he will change the routine to this combat waypoint, and he will actually break out of the loop, and he will move to the new location, which is exactly what we want. So basically he will react to the situation. And the next thing that we are gonna do right now is, before explaining anything else, we will actually deal with this whole situation by making the trigger be activated at the right moment. So we want the player to activate it and nobody else. So let's switch to groups, click on the trigger, drag the line to the player's unit, another line gets created, and now it's basically done. If you open click, you can see that the activation is the vehicle, which in this case means the player. So once he gets spotted and found by the op4 forces, all of these patrolling soldiers will move to their new location. They will stop. They will also switch to the combat stance so that they are better equipped to fight. Next we have a few stationary soldiers over here, almost inside a castle. Well, it's not inside, there's actually no inside, so they are sort of around, they are between the walls. And I'm gonna click this one, and you can see that I have used a couple of commands here already. And you know, these are nothing special. I have used the disable AI, and it is the command that disables a certain part of the AI behavior. So I have disabled the movement part because this one is actually in a very specific location, and I don't want him to move away in case of any danger, or if he starts to flee. I don't want that to happen, and I especially don't want the player to then spend half an hour trying to find him somewhere around in the ruins of a castle. So I don't want him to move at all, and because some of these soldiers are like on a wall or near spaces that are almost impossible to access, I want him to be standing up all the time so that he is better seen. So I have used the set unit pose command, and that sets the unit's position basically. So there are a couple of values for that. You can have up for standing up, or down for laying on the ground. You can have a middle for crouching, and you can have auto to switch to the AI system that decides what is best for the unit. So these are the two commands that I use for the stationary soldiers. This one is on the ground. He is behind these back fences, and these two guys are on a wall. You will see them in a couple of seconds. And then we have the last thing that I have here are a couple of civilians inside the castle. You can see that they also have the movement disabled, and some of them are laying down and others are standing up. So that's basically just for variety. I just wanted to show you that the different values work. And then I have this last trigger, and we'll talk about that in the future when we try to import the next mechanic. So I want to explain you before we get to the first testing or the first script creation. I want to tell you a bit about the idea of this mission so that you know what we are doing. And basically it's very simple. The idea of the mission is that there are terrorists in the castle, or sort of any soldiers basically, and they have a few hostages inside the castle. These are the civilians over here, and basically you have to infiltrate the castle as best as you can, and if you fail at that, and if you are discovered really early, they will kill the civilians and you will fail the mission. So basically you have to sort of find your way around. You have to get into the castle. You have to shoot the nearest soldiers. Actually, let me add one more soldier over here next to the civilians. So this will be more interesting. Okay, so you want to shoot everyone around the civilians, secure the area. Then maybe you should eliminate all the remaining forces, like the outside patrols as well. And then basically once you have secured it, at the end you will call for reinforcements, and they will send some explosive specialists on the place, and these will disarm the bombs that are around the civilians. So a pretty normal hostage rescue mission. But I want to show A, how to count the units and how to make the hostages, B, how to do the patrols, which I have already explained, and we'll test that in the mission. And the third thing that I want to do is the reinforcements, because the player will specifically call them via the radio, and I think that that's something I didn't really do before. I had some missions with the radio use, but it was always automatic. This time we'll have the player call by himself. So that will be really interesting to do. I'm gonna save this, and what I'm gonna do, we could test the mission. I mean, we could see at least the patrols, how they work. And this is also the great idea of testing, because you can easily test the mission with this, with these two commands on the player's unit. You can easily test everything you want, because the player will never be harmed. You cannot die, in other words. So yeah, we'll have later some... Oh no, let me just put it right here. An object, it will be maybe a military. Yeah, this device, it will be like a bomb, and that bomb can explode. Yeah, so there are a couple of enemy units. You will then have them explode. Okay, that's done, that's done. Alright, let's make a trigger. You have to forgive me, I always have a bit of the mission prepared, but then I never know what to do next and how to continue, so I might have to reconsider some things, some small details. Okay, so we'll want the player to be detected by Op4 for a very long time, so let's say 2 minutes. Is 2 minutes enough to get into the castle? Yeah, it's enough. You know what, let's make it even more interesting. The countdown will be on the player's screen all the time until he secures the area. Oh no, I have even a better idea. Once he gets detected, there will be a countdown. Oh yeah, like for 2 minutes. If he doesn't secure the area and the 2 minutes will pass, then the bomb will explode. That's a good idea. Yeah, so I think that we can right now switch to the script that will do the countdown. Then we will switch back to the game, set up the triggers so that they work. Then we'll switch back to the script creation and we'll have the reinforcements and all of that. And then I'll do the last details and we'll possibly test the mission for the first time. Okay, welcome back. So first we'll do the countdown script. It will be a very simple one, and I hope that it will work reliably as well. And I will not bother with any special effects, anything. It will be the most simple and most effective thing that I can imagine, that I can think of right now. So very easy. We'll first define the seconds and minutes that we'll work with. I have already told you this will be a 2 minute long countdown, so we want the minutes to be 2 and second 1. It will then immediately count itself down to 0 and it will be 2 minutes straight. So while we'll have to use some variable, some boolean that we'll work with, so I'm gonna do the most simple one, disarmed do. Okay, so the disarmed one, we haven't defined it yet in the mission. I imagine that I will define it very quickly after the mission start, and possibly even in the init.sqf if I'm gonna make one, or immediately after the mission starts. It will be set to false in the start, and when the player gets close enough to the bomb device, it will automatically switch itself to true, and this will no longer work. So what do we want? So okay, first I will leave a couple of spaces for the conditions that I'm gonna do later, but right now we want the second to decrease by 1 on each second, basically. So yeah, sleep 1. and we want the player to be informed. We want to tell him, so I'll use the hint command to show him the time. Okay, minute and second. So the hint command will show him what time he has and how much he can spend on shooting stuff. Next we want to make a condition for the seconds. So if the second is 0, then we want some slight changes. So the second will then switch back to 60, and the minute will decrease by 1. Like this. So every time the counter goes down to 0, so for example when it shows 2 minutes and 0 seconds, it will then automatically switch to 1 minute and 60 seconds and count down. Okay, and then we want the final check for the absolute end, if you want to say it that way. So if the minutes and the seconds as well are both on 0, minute equals 0 and second equals 0, then we want to call the end mission, and it will basically equate to fail. So I'm gonna use, in this case, I'm gonna use exit with. If you read the wiki, or if you are familiar with this command, you may know that it's not exactly the best in absolutely every case. You have to be very careful and know what you are doing, as this command doesn't actually do what you might think that it does. And it's very nicely described on the wiki page that is related to this command. It doesn't exit the script itself. It only exits the loop that it is within. And in this case, it's the while loop that I have set over here. So be very careful. It is not used to exit the script or anything like that. It only exits the current scope, as you might say, or the current block of commands. So yeah, be very careful. I do not recommend you to use this like freely here and there. It will not work as you might expect. So I think that this is all I can do for now. You can add some fancy sound effects and all of that. I will not do that. This is a working countdown script, and that's all I need for now. So yeah, because I haven't named the bomb and I haven't set the disarmed logic, I will now return to the mission and then we'll continue. Back to the mission. Let's find the bomb. I don't expect it to explode or anything. It probably won't happen. You can add explosions. I may do that, I may not do that, I don't know yet. We'll add a very simple anybody trigger that will have disarmed equals to false. I'll set it around here so that it gets activated every single time, and then I'll have a small trigger with the area of 7. Disarmed is true. That's a bit too small, I'll set it to 8. Groups connected with the player, like this. So this command that we have set up will increase its size again to 400. Detected by op4 will then connect that to the player. We'll change the condition to this and not disarmed, and counting equals to xzvn countdown.sqf. Connect it to the player yet again. Let's add a couple of seconds before it launches, and basically once the player is discovered, the patrols will start moving around. They will abandon their relaxed positions. They will actually switch to combat. Also, the 2-minute countdown will launch, it will spawn, and the player will have limited time to do the rest of the mission. So the stealth here really matters. I know that this isn't the most advanced way to do stuff, but it's very simple, and it's the mechanics that matter over here, okay? I know that I say this very often in these videos, but I feel like if there's someone new watching this episode who hasn't seen the previous ones, I really have to say that, you know, this isn't a perfect mission. This is just to show you that it can be done. And if you spend enough time with your mission, it can really be nice and playable. This is basically a framework of a mission where I show you the most important and most interesting mechanics of the game, of each mission. Okay, so this is working. We can now work on the supports, on the reinforcements. But first, I don't have, but I want to show you what we have done so far. So I'll launch the mission for a testing purpose, and we'll see how it works. Basically, we have it very simple. We want to see the patrols move around, and we want the countdown to work. That's all we are testing right now. I also forgot to add, in the script I have already added the end mission function from Bohemia Interactive. I do that in the same way in every single one of my missions in Let's Make videos. So click to any other previous ones where I explained them, where I explained how to do this thing, how to do the end mission, or find the tutorial. It's also on my channel. I'm not gonna bother you again with that, because I know that there are some people that have seen the previous episodes, and I always talk about the end mission stuff. So yeah, it's exactly the same. I just copy and paste it every single time I want to use it. So it's exactly the same as in the sniper mission, as in the documents mission, or I don't know what else, the Christmas one, yeah, it's there too. So yeah, so I know that there is a patrol over here. You can see the soldier is relaxed, he's just moving around, no problems. He doesn't see me or anything, no player around, so he's absolutely okay. Now let's move closer to him, and we'll see how he reacts. So this is the patrol script. Now he has seen me. There is his reaction. He's running away from his current waypoint. There's also the countdown working. There should be some more patrols around. Oh yeah, there's another guy back there. I can't zoom anymore. But yeah, these guys are in combat stance right now, and they are ready to fight. So that's exactly what I wanted to see. This is the interior, if you want to call it that. There's the stationary soldiers, one is up over here. Then we have the civilians and the bomb. We have a soldier up here and down here as well. We have 1 minute and some seconds. It stopped for some strange reason. Okay, so turns out I'm just silly. I didn't realize that I have actually already put the diffusal mechanism into the game. So yeah, I got too close and the countdown stopped. So that's awesome. It works, at least. at least we know that. So I'll restart the mission and come back with the countdown again. We want to see the fail ending of the mission. Alright, we are back. I'll now keep my distance. I cannot come any closer to that, but there's the civilians. Some of them are staying up, some of them are laying down. The soldiers are not exactly in the most logic places, but that's okay. They are seen at least. You can shoot them from here and they are not hidden and they will not go down on the ground. So yeah, I'll speed up the time a little bit so that it's a bit faster, and I just want to see the ending screen so that it works in every case. Alright, we have less than 15 seconds right now, so let's change the time to one times the speed. The 0 is here. Mission failed, so that's exactly what we want to see. We can as well add some crazy explosions all around the place. You can blow up the entire castle, I don't really care. But the important thing is, one of the endings is already implemented into the mission. And we also have tested that the that the diffuser mechanism works as well. And it actually stops the script. So that's awesome. The next thing that we are gonna do is the script for reinforcements. It will be very simple. Basically I will create a vehicle and some soldiers in the distance. I'll then transport them closer to the castle on the player's input. I'll make it so that it looks like they have just arrived, and basically it will all be scripted. And well, what else can I say? That will be basically it for the mission. I think that I have shown you what I wanted. So let's go straight for the script. Okay, we are back. So let's finish this script. I'm not gonna use some specific names. I'm gonna use the parameters instead. So we are gonna deal with some expert on demolitions. So this will be my first parameter of the script, and I'm gonna say the specific name later in the trigger when I'm actually making the unit itself. So next we want him to arrive in some truck of sorts, so I'll make a vehicle like that, and I want him to come in the vehicle, so assign as driver, and to be faster, move in driver as well. The assign does the former thing, and the driver actually, when you assign him as a driver to a vehicle, he goes and tries to enter the vehicle. When you move him in, it skips all of the movement and he teleports himself to the vehicle itself. So it's basically the fastest way possible to get him into the vehicle. We'll call this script once the area is clear and the player calls for the reinforcements, so we'll sleep just a tiny bit and then the player will just usually talk to, I don't know, his headquarters. So Alpha to Papa Bear, for example. Objective complete. Area is secured. You can add more dialogue or change this terrible dialogue to something more reasonable. And I don't want to create another unit just for this radio conversation, but I know that the demolition expert is available in this script and he won't talk to me much, so I'll use him as the headquarters voice. Standing work alpha. What else can I write? Oh, I know. Wait until the reinforcements arrive. Yeah, so that we know that they are on the way. Okay, we'll sleep a bit more. And then we will set boss the expert on some specific location, so we will want him to get close to the player. He will still be in the vehicle will move with him. I'll find the location later. Expert, move position player, sleep like 5 seconds, unassign vehicle, expert, so that he actually stops and gets out of his car after 5 seconds. That will be roughly the time that will take him to get close to the castle, close enough. Yeah, that will be alright. You will see that later in the mission. It will be just enough. And we can again call from the Papa Bear. So Alpha reinforcements are coming from the south. Stay sharp. Out. Okay, so that's it from the Papa Bear. He will not talk anymore. And I should put some command here, shouldn't I? Side chat. Okay. And we'll sleep for 4 more seconds and then call it a day. So end one, call bis FNC and mission. This will be the good ending. So the player will just wait and the reinforcements will magically arrive. Now we need to find the location, and I don't want to use any more variables, so I have actually found a very specific location. It is not very far from the castle. It's to the south, where the player will start himself. And I think that we are pretty much ready. Yeah, that's all I wanted to do now. I'll now jump back to the editor. I'll actually make this expert his vehicle, and I'll make the radio transmission itself, and that will be it for the mission. I'm considering if I should make something more, but I think that this mission is already pretty much playable, and we'll see if everything works out or not. And you know, if not, then I might have to even repair something or fix something. So yeah, I think that this is already enough. Let's head back to the mission. Okay, we are back in the mission, so let's make some triggers, shall we? Let's make one opt for not present. That's a little bit too big. I want the trigger to be a tiny bit smaller. 30 by 30 should be enough. Yeah, like this, so that the area is actually clear of the most immediate soldiers. So when the op4 is not present, and what else? Okay, nothing else. I think that we'll do it with the variables. So we'll make a can call equals to true. Next we'll find this can call will define it at the start of the mission is false. And until he clears this area of the OP4 forces, the can call will be false. So now we'll make the radio itself. It will be very simple. Radio alpha, condition this end can call. It will be activated only once, and it will launch our script. So it will be the exits VM reinforcements.sqf. I'll add the parameters later. We can't forget about this trigger, however. Okay, make another one. Radio alpha. This end not can call. If it's false repeatedly, it will actually do nothing. Okay, this should work. The player will have the possibility to call once the area is secure. So we'll add a little bit of a hint. Let me just write something quickly. Hint silent. No, it will be a normal hint. Use the radio 001 to call reinforcements to complete your objective, so that every player actually uses the radio, because not everyone wants reinforcements on the place. Some players like to operate by themselves. So I'll make the expert and his vehicle. It will be explosive specialist. His name will be... Let's not make it very complicated. His name will be expert. He will have a vehicle. It will be a normal hunter. Vehicle. Okay, I can't use that, so let's name it car. Like this and like this. Good stuff. Go back to this and we will use these names as parameters, so expert and car. Call reinforcements. Okay. Okay, so I think that we are ready for the last test. Save the mission. There are no errors in the description.ext, and I'll test it with this soldier. When you are done with the testing, you want the soldier to be a bit more back, so that the player has some freedom. You can create like some markers. Actually, let me create one of two markers. This will be the start one. Oh, I can't use it like this. The start one, the end one. It will be like an objective. A red one. Let's put it right here. Yeah, you can add all those things, briefing, some notes, some intro to this. I have made tutorials on all of those things, and I'm not gonna do it right now. I just want the basic mechanics of the mission to work. I want to test that, and you can do that everything after you are done with the testing phase. Okay, so let's see if everything works. We have already tested the bomb exploding mechanic, so we can now... Come on. We can now easily just test the good ending of the mission. So I have to actually shoot these people, and I have to defuse the bomb, and I have to call the reinforcements. Actually, let me call the reinforcements right now. That's a good sign. Nothing happened. Let's kill everyone we see. I think there are no more soldiers. I think the other ones just go way far and we don't have to really care about them. Okay, let's head to the bomb itself. Okay, so it works so far. Use the radio to complete your objective. Alpha. Alpha to Papa Bear, objective complete, area is secured. Outstanding work, Alpha. Wait until the reinforcements arrive. After a couple of seconds there will be a jeep arriving to this base. There may be some soldiers firing at the jeep. Oh, expert in vehicle. That's not working. Okay. Quick fix. Okay, I hope it's fixed right now. I have added some parentheses over there, so it should work. Let's see if the jeep arrives this time or not. I may have to do another fixing. But no, it looks like it works just fine. Mission complete. The jeep is a little bit more in the distance than I expected but anyway, that's just a tiny cosmetic detail of the mission. I think that the mission is fine at its current state. And there is actually one more thing that I want to show you. I will not implement it into the mission, but I just want to show you what I've been working with. And that is the civilian counts, because it may happen that you kill a civilian, and actually I will make it into the final mission, that you will kill a civilian, and that might be a bad thing. That usually is a bad thing, and you don't want that to happen. So what I've done is I've made this trigger that controls the count of civilian units. It's a very simple thing. It just says civilian as a site. It actually counts. The count site counts all units of the current site, that is civilian, of all the units on the map. And when there are less than 7, it displays a hint civilian killed. We'll change the hint to something like N2, call this FNC and mission. So once any of the 7 civilians die, it's the end of the mission. So you can't just throw a grenade into the middle of them and kill the soldier that's right next to them and kill 5 of the civilians. That's not much of a rescue. So you actually can't let the civilians die by any means. So if you have an explosion here, that will mean the end of the mission as well. Yeah, and right now, if I were testing that right now, it wouldn't work because the player's unit is captive, and that means that he actually counts as a civilian unit in some weird sense. So I'll delete that, and well, I will just try to fight my way through, and I'll kill a civilian to show you how it may work. So okay, we have all the other endings already tested. We know that they work. This is the last thing that I'm gonna do for this mission. So let's quickly test it. It's really simple. you just count the civilians, and if there are less than 7 of them, you just call it a bad ending, because some of them died. It may be one of them, it may be all 7 of them, you don't know, you don't even need to know that. The only thing that you need is to know that the civilian died, any number of them, and okay, they are already shooting at me, and I have the audio set to quite a high volume, so yeah, let's shoot one. Mission failed. Exactly what I wanted. Awesome. So I think that this mission is ready to go. It looks simple when you look at it like in the editor, but really there are some fine and good mechanics that really can be used in any sort of mission, be it a very simple one or a very advanced one with semi-professional scripts and all that stuff. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And feel free to download the mission, the link will be in the video description below. So that's it for this video, I'll see you all in the next one. Comment, like and share, and have a great day.